Robert Whittaker made a bold claim when reflecting on the highly anticipated matchup between Dricus Du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319.
And speaking of former opponents as well, you've got Khamzat and Dricus fighting for the belts in just over a month's time. What are your initial thoughts on that matchup stylistically?
So honestly, I'd have to say Dricus would be a favourite. He probably is a favourite, but I think I'm leaning towards Dricus.
Whittaker, who has had the tough experience of facing both men in recent years, offered a simple but critical observation. Chimaev's success depends entirely on whether he can finish Du Plessis on the ground before the South African recovers. According to Whittaker, the fight will hinge on whether Chimaev can capitalize on his takedown and top control early in the fight. If the challenger fails to finish Du Plessis before he gets back on his feet, Whittaker believes that "and still" will be the phrase heard on August 16th, with Du Plessis retaining his title.
The whole thing can be summed up. Chimaev will take him down.
Yeah.
Will he finish him before he gets back up? That's the million-dollar question. Because if he doesn't finish him on the ground, I think he loses. But yeah, wait and see.
Ariel Helwani took a more measured approach in breaking down the fight. Helwani acknowledged that Chimaev would likely dominate the early stages of the fight with his relentless pace and explosive wrestling, but he also pointed out that Du Plessis has the mental toughness and resilience to handle the storm. Helwani noted that while Chimaev's aggression would likely control the first few rounds, the longer the fight lasts, the better it is for the champion. Du Plessis has already shown his ability to endure and thrive in the later rounds, a skill that could become pivotal if he can survive the initial onslaught.
Now, which direction are you putting that now? Are you transferring that to DDP?
I think DDP figures it out. I think he takes him to deep water and he figures it out, and I think it's like a learning lesson for him and all this stuff.
I like it.
Yeah. Gentlemen, we've done a lot of shows today.
Adding to the chorus of opinions was TJ Dillashaw, who offered some critical advice to Chimaev ahead of his title challenge. Dillashaw stressed the importance of intense preparation, emphasizing that Chimaev must break his body and mind in training to withstand the grueling nature of a 5-round championship fight. Dillashaw explained that once a fighter's heart rate spikes, their body starts producing lactic acid, leading to fatigue. For Chimaev, this is a crucial area of concern, as Du Plessis could expose weaknesses in his cardio if the fight drags on into the later rounds. Dillashaw's words highlighted the importance of physical conditioning and mental toughness, two aspects that could decide whether Chimaev's early explosion leads to victory or a late collapse.
He needs to work on top-end red line stuff because he goes for the kill, and you can only do that for so long. You have to train that section, right? So everyone's heart rate, right? You get into the red zone, you start producing lactic acid, you get tired. The only way to make that better is to be in that red zone for as long as possible and train to be there longer. Also get used to it mentally. If he can start training that, he should listen to Armin, because Armin's doing it with Sam Calavita now. It'd be awesome if we can get Chimaev up there as well too. He would have, I would put a lot more money on Chimaev if he trains the right way for his cardio. If he doesn't train his cardio the right way, I think it's gonna be hard for him to put DDP away, and DDP's going to get him in the later rounds and gas him out.
From a more tactical perspective, former fighter Michael "Venom" Page weighed in, acknowledging Du Plessis' momentum, but still giving the edge to Chimaev. MVP noted that Chimaev's unpredictability and explosive athleticism make him a dangerous threat, especially in the early rounds. His ability to cover ground quickly with both striking and grappling makes him a nightmare for opponents in the opening exchanges. If Chimaev can control the pace of the fight and push his tempo aggressively, MVP speculated, the fight could very well end before it turns into the drawn-out battle many are predicting.
I don't see anybody beating him.
I like Khamzat too. I think he's been really incredible.
Yeah, definitely. He looked better in the last fight. Obviously, it didn't last long, so we didn't get to see it, but normally he's like Crash Bandicoot the first round, and then his energy dips.
DDP has been interesting, though.
I feel like Dricus is very underrated for a belt holder here.
But that's the thing. If anybody was to, it would be Dricus, because that is the muscular endurance. If you look at like some of the fights nowadays, Merab, Dricus, these guys that have the muscular endurance to be fighting at 7 the whole fight. And then you got someone like Merab that's 7-8 from start to finish, mate, that's difficult to deal with. And Dricus seems exactly the same. He's like 7-8 the whole time. So if you don't kill him and get him out of there in that first round, second round, then you're gonna have a problem for the rest of the fight.
Darren Till, who has trained with both Chimaev and Du Plessis, leaned toward Chimaev as well. Despite acknowledging Du Plessis' toughness, Till believes that Chimaev's relentless pressure would be too much for the champion to handle. Till's unique perspective, based on first-hand training experience with both fighters, fighters gave him confidence that Chimaev's intensity would overpower Du Plessis' gritty style.
If I went back to the UFC now, as the middleweight I could be, I'd fucking tear that Dricus' head off. Tell Dricus I said fuck him, by the way. The little fucking gobshite. Because I can't stand his guts because he's so shit, he's so good.
You think he beats Khamzat, your boy?
No, look, I'm with respect, I'm never going to look past Dricus because he trains hard, he's super dedicated, he's super strong, and he's got that awkward style that doesn't make any sense. I think Khamzat will beat him inside the 2 rounds. I really do believe that. But look, Khamzat knows. I was speaking to Khamzat on the FaceTime the other day because I'm meant to be going out to Dubai to help with the camp. Khamzat knows it's a tough fight, but, you know, Khamzat trains like a beast. I do think Khamzat gets it in 2 rounds done. Do you know what I'm saying?
By the way, you're looking svelte. You're looking great. How much are you weighing right now?
Everyone's been saying that, you know, that I'm looking fabulous.
Yeah, you are.
Ariel, let's just go. Do I look fabulous?
I think you look fabulous. The teeth are just like blinding me. I wish I was wearing sunglasses right now, but you're looking fit. Way fitter than the last time, right?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to show me another thing there. It was getting very low, the camera. It was weird. It was uncomfortable.
Whoa. Only my missus gets to see that. Don't be disrespectful.
This sentiment was echoed by Ilya Topuria, a rising star in the middleweight division, who suggested that Chimaev's forward momentum and finishing instincts would likely prevail. Topuria, though largely neutral, gave the edge to Chimaev due to his ability to maintain pressure and push for finishes.
Ilya Topuria on Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus Du Plessis fight. Ilya Topuria gave his opinion on the potential title fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus Du Plessis. Topuria wished Chimaev and Du Plessis good luck as he is friends with both of them.
He's the man. He's a savage. He calls him his shots. He finishes his opponents. When he goes inside the octagon, you know that guy goes for the finish. He's not looking for the decision. That's why I respect Khamzat. He's a fucking beast. So he deserves to fight for the title as soon as possible. We're gonna have an amazing fight because I love Dricus Du Plessis. He's a great human being. I have a great relationship with him. I have a great relationship with Khamzat also. But as a fan of mixed martial arts, it's gonna be a very excited fight. I hope the best man wins, and I wish best of the luck to both of them.
On the other hand, some fighters who have faced Chimaev, like Kamaru Usman, pointed out that Du Plessis might pose a different kind of challenge. Usman praised Chimaev's top control and suffocating grappling style, but acknowledged that Du Plessis' mental toughness and resilience would make it harder for Chimaev to impose his game plan. Usman refrained from picking a winner, as he saw both fighters possessing the skills and attributes to win. This perspective underscores the unpredictability of the matchup and suggests that the outcome will not be straightforward.
Khamzat Chimaev on your back round 1 is not easy to get off, and then he was able to sink that in, and that goes to show how strong of a squeeze this freaking dude had.
Could he pull that same style against Dricus Du Plessis? Because I will say this.
1000%.
Another voice in Chimaev's corner is the legendary Yoel Romero. Romero, known for his wrestling and grappling prowess, gave a slight edge to Chimaev, largely because of his elite level wrestling background. Romero emphasized that Chimaev's Olympic level grappling gives him a distinct advantage in close quarters exchanges, where control on the ground often determines the winner. This view mirrors Whittaker's analysis, as both recognize Chimaev's ability to dominate with top pressure, especially in the early rounds.
1640. Johnson.
You have what, sorry? Who do you think? 60 Dricus?
16% for Chimaev and 40% for Du Plessis. Yeah, that's a way.
So you think Chimaev? You're kind of slightly leaning towards Chimaev.
Yes.
Why? Why do you think?
Wrestling. The wrestling. The wrestling for Chimaev right now is very, very dangerous.
Rainier de Rieder, another rising star in the middleweight division, made an interesting prediction, siding with Du Plessis, but in a slightly unconventional manner. De Rieder noted that Chimaev's explosive wrestling would likely dominate the first few rounds, but he believes that Du Plessis would grow stronger as the fight progressed. Du Plessis, known for his endurance and toughness, has demonstrated the ability to outlast opponents in deep waters. If the fight goes into the 4th and 5th rounds, De Rieder speculated that Du Plessis would seize control and potentially finish Chimaev late, using his superior stamina and mental fortitude.
No, he's absolutely not. I know you've been asked a million times about like the Khamzat and Dricus fight, but now that we do have a date, like a location, all that kind of stuff, maybe you can talk about it in more real terms since we know when and where it's happening.
Yeah, it's August, and where is it?
Chicago.
Oh,
August 16th.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So apparently Khamzat can fight in the US.
Yeah, yeah. Now Trump is in office.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we talked about it before. Do you still feel Khamzat has the advantage there?
No, I think Dricus is gonna. I think Dricus will win. Yeah.
Coach Tim Welch brought another important factor into the analysis: the psychological aspect of the fight. Welch argued that Du Plessis' mental toughness could be the decisive element. While Chimaev is undoubtedly physically dominant, Welch believes that Du Plessis' ability to disrupt his rhythm and engage in mental warfare could give the champion a distinct advantage. If Du Plessis can make Chimaev question his approach and throw him off his game plan, the fight could turn into a much more difficult contest for the challenger.
I mean, I would love to see Khamzat versus Strickland too. Khamzat said in training, I submitted him multiple times. In a fight, it's a little different. And Strickland, you've seen Strickland get dumped before. He is an expert at getting up. He's really good wrestling, really good jiu-jitsu. But just like you said, can you survive the first fucking 3 minutes with that dude? Gnarly.
That's fire.
I miss the crazy Khamzat, but now that he's getting into these top 5 elite guys, I mean, it's probably better that he's not crazy Khamzat.
Dude, I mean, that looked like crazy Khamzat to me.
All week being respectful of the press conferences, respectful of like everything.
Yeah.
It was a lot different than he used to be.
DDP has a way of poking at opponents too, though, so you might be able to pull that crazy Khamzat back out of him.
I'd love to see DDP beat him.
Demetrious Johnson also weighed in with a more technical breakdown of the fight. Johnson acknowledged Chimaev's grappling superiority, but suggested that Du Plessis' striking and unpredictability on the feet could pose serious problems. Johnson noted that while Chimaev's early round dominance is well documented, he tends to fade in longer fights. Du Plessis' ability to absorb damage and keep up the pressure, combined with his diverse striking, could prove to be a crucial factor if the fight extends into the championship rounds.
DDP Khamzat. I go DDP.
DDP.
I think he'll survive the first round. Second round will be competitive. He might get taken down again. But I think he'll shoot in. I don't know. If I'm DDP, I'm shooting in on Chimaev.
Okay.
If he is getting taken down, he'd be like, I'm pulling guard. Yeah. I'm not going to be cramped up against a cage. If you shoot early, we're in the center of the cage. I'm in guard.
Yep.
So I think he takes the center early. Doesn't stuff it.
Yep.
Flops right to his back, but it'll be so easy for Chimaev, whereas other people might put up a bit of sprawl.
Yeah.
So I think DDP round 4, round 3 TKO.
Jack Hermanson, another fighter with first-hand experience grappling with Chimaev, offered a balanced perspective. He pointed out Chimaev's strength in the early rounds, but warned that Du Plessis could turn the fight around if he survives the initial barrage. Hermanson sees the fight as one where Du Plessis' ability to weather the storm and drag Chimaev into the later rounds could prove decisive, particularly if fatigue becomes an issue for the challenger.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be an amazing fight, and I think Khamzat is gonna pull it off. But I do think that, especially early, I think it's gonna be tough for Dricus. But if he can push the fight into later rounds, I think he can have an advantage. So it's going to be a really interesting one. But I'll bet my money on Khamzat in that one. But not like some people think that he's just going to run him over. But I think it's going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's really interesting, especially like you said, if it goes into the later rounds. We've seen DDP go 5 rounds. I know he does look tired, right? Like he has this weird style where he kind of looks like he slows down, but he's going 5 rounds though, right? Like that's something that's kind of interesting. Where I don't believe Chimaev has before. So.
No, exactly, and we have seen like in was it like the Burns and the Usman fight where he looks a little bit more tired in the later rounds. So yeah.
How was it? I know this was a couple of years ago, but how was it wrestling him, like just from the strength perspective? Because obviously he used to fight at 170, he's at 85 now, but I hear that he is very strong for the weight class. What was it like when you got to wrestle him that one time?
Nah, he's a really, really good, technical and super, super strong. He looks like a tall, lanky guy, but he feels like a super, super strong guy. He has amazing strength in his grips, and he's something special. So it was.
Dominic Cruz focused on Du Plessis' technical skills, particularly his ability to switch stances and maintain fluid footwork. Cruz believes that Du Plessis' composure under pressure could serve as an antidote to Chimaev's Chimaev's aggressive style, which thrives on making opponents break mentally. Cruz suggested that if Du Plessis can maintain his composure and continue executing his technical game, he might have the upper hand against Chimaev's high-pressure approach.
Dricus. Yes. Man, I actually really like Dricus right now, the way he's looking. Like I said in the Schmo interview, he doesn't really stay on the center line. His striking and the stance switch really supports him in the rest of the takedown defense. Yeah. Because as long as you don't sit right in front of a guy consistently, it's hard to get a hold of the legs and shoot on you. So he's also very big and strong, so I think he can challenge the strength of Chimaev in the first 2 rounds, which a lot of people haven't been able to rival. Just the strength alone has been too much, and I think Dricus is sturdy enough and big enough. He can challenge it, but I will say I think it might be the toughest fight of his career so far.
Bo Nickal grouped Chimaev among the elite pressure grapplers like Islam Makhachev and Merab Dvalishvili. For Nickal, Chimaev represents the future of MMA, with his relentless pace and mastery of positional control setting the standard for the next generation of fighters. His perspective emphasizes Chimaev's unique approach to the game, one that focuses on suffocating opponents with constant pressure rather than relying on traditional striking or submissions.
Just based on the styles, I just think the grappling style, you know, I might be biased. I'm definitely biased, but I think the grappling style is so hard to beat, and it's so hard to defend against. And I guess if you look at it from a analytical point of view, you have so many. It's really become the dominant force in the sport. You got Merab, you got Islam, you got Bilal, you got Khamzat. You even have you can even look at Topuria. Obviously, people know he's more of a boxing style, and he does a lot more striking. But his background is wrestling. You know, he did that before anything else, and so it's really wrestlers that are dominating. Grapplers that are dominating the sport right now, and so I think that I would give the edge to Khamzat.
Caio Baralio shared his thoughts on the upcoming clash between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus Du Plessis, acknowledging the unique threat Chimaev presents. Baralio noted that Chimaev's ability to seamlessly blend aggressive wrestling with unpredictable striking makes him a challenging opponent for anyone. However, Baralio also pointed out that Du Plessis might have the upper hand, especially with his technical approach to the game. While Chimaev's rhythm and timing are undoubtedly difficult to handle, Baralio emphasized that Du Plessis would need more than just strong takedown defense to truly stay competitive in this fight.
Khamzat fighting against Dricus. Who do you think he wins?
I think Khamzat is gonna win because I don't see anyone preparing properly for Khamzat. They are bringing wrestlers to train them to defend takedowns and all that, but Khamzat doesn't do the normal stuff. Khamzat doesn't do wrestling. He does MMA wrestling. It's different. You need to understand his system, what he wants next. You need to understand this first, and then you start to prepare for him. And I think Khamzat's gonna win for me.
Chael Sonnen weighed in with his own perspective on the matchup. Sonnen agreed that Chimaev enters the fight as the favorite, but he made it clear that Du Plessis should not be underestimated. According to Sonnen, Chimaev's wrestling-heavy style has its weaknesses, particularly when faced with a seasoned grappler like Du Plessis. He pointed out that the early stages of the fight would be crucial for Du Plessis. If the South African can avoid being taken down in the first few minutes, Sonnen believes the momentum could swing in his favor, turning the tide against Chimaev's aggressive game plan.
How is he going to beat him? Because I am not fully confident that Chimaev can take him down at will. I'm not fully confident he can keep him there. We're going to know in the very first round. If Dricus gets taken down in the first round, things are going to unravel very quickly. But if he can defend a takedown for the entire first 5 minutes, it's only going to get easier to stay on your feet after that. It's an exciting match. I would expect Chimaev to be the favorite.
In conclusion, the fight between Dricus Du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev promises to be one of the most exciting and unpredictable in recent memory. The varying perspectives from analysts, fighters, and coaches paint a picture of two fighters with distinct advantages. Chimaev's explosive early round wrestling and top control against Du Plessis' toughness, striking versatility, and ability to adjust as the fight progresses. Whether Chimaev can finish Du Plessis early, or if the champion can weather the storm and capitalize on Chimaev's potential cardio issues will determine the outcome of this thrilling matchup.